The video archive was not right because of the lag. So we're just going to do this again, and I'm going to finish up this pillar I was working on. So in the last video, I had everything done from here on over. Again, I'm doing pixel art and Flash. A lot of our last games were minimal art style. This one we're trying to keep it simple, but we do want to spice things up a little bit with a little more vibrant color, a little more detail. Um, I didn't film all of the development. I wish I had, because it really has only taken a few hours. It came together quick. It was one of those moments where you have a spurt of inspiration, and if you do design or art, you know this. You just have to go, and if you don't go, you're gonna miss that sweet gravy train. So as you can see here, it's not like a perfect grid. This is a vector art program. I didn't take the time to make a perfect grid because I was kind of in the zone. I was just going with it. But when you view it, you can't tell. No one's going to be looking at their phone and just like with a straight edge going, oh, these edges aren't lining up. This game is shit. Not going to happen. So it's really not something you need to worry about. Plus, we're an indie studio. We're making an indie game. We're making pixel art. And I think one of the rules is when all those criteria are met, it's called style at that point. You can do whatever you want. Call it stylized. Here you saw a bank of characters. We made 20 characters. We got some fandom references in there. And we got some just, fun ones. The plan is to have different sounds for these characters when they jump, to have maybe different particle effects come off when they jump. Here you have just, Norm. He's just a regular dude. Found his way into a cave. Gonna pick up some gems while he's there. Just a nice little trail that you'd see, on a lot of games. Here's gems you need to collect. Some hazards. We got some pillars that drop down on you. Smash, smash. We got some stationary pillars. We got some fireball shooters. And recently I made a rising pillar. So these pillars are going to fall into the lava. They're rock. You touch them. They're a little unstable. They're going to go. So you're going to need to jump to the next one. These ones, as soon as you touch them, they're going to fall. So you got to hurry. Yeah, but I wanted some that go up. And I can't make the rock ones go up. And when we're talking about game design, you have to remember that your player isn't always an avid gamer. They're not always quick on their feet. Thinker. Not everyone plays rage games, so they're not really ready for that. A lot of the times when you're talking about casual games, especially when you're working on one-tap games for mobile. So when a player sees a lot of ground platforms and they just sink into the lava, they're going to start expecting these ground platforms to sink into the lava. They're not going to expect one to rise up into the ceiling. You don't want to do that to somebody. It's just going to make them angry. When a game's already difficult, you don't want to make someone unnecessarily angry, so you need to have a little forethought when you're designing. Here, when a player sees this platform, they're going to think, that's different. First off, oh, this is new. So when you make it do something new, they're not going to be too mad. They're going to be like, now I know. This platform is going to start crushing into some spikes, if there's spikes above it. Here we have some spikes that are going to come down. These ones you can see are encased in rock, so the player can expect those to stay still. Continuing this encased in rock motif, we have a pillar, now encased in rock. The player can expect this to stay still. Just being consistent with the design choices when you're making these types of game is huge. It's really going to be a big boon to your design throughout any game you're making. You can do just about anything design-wise, you'll find, so long as you keep it consistent. That's a big one. A lot of people forget. You got to make the artwork consistent. You got to make the function of the artwork consistent. That's just what people need. They need that consistency. Everyone wants something new and exciting, but they also want a little bit of predictability because, we're humans. We want to be able to learn, and if something doesn't have a pattern, you can't learn it. It's impossible. And that's another thing. This is going to be an endless game. I want to say about endless games for people who make them or want to make them. Procedurally generated. People always want to make something procedurally generated. They want to make it random. That's great. I like that. A lot of people like that. It creates variety without having to put too much design in. But please, please, when you're doing it, don't make it 100% random. Make some patterns in there. People need to be able to memorize the patterns. How can you get good at something if there isn't at least one thing to memorize? Okay. So here I'm making a chain. And we're going to have a new type of hazard here. This is going to be not quite pixel art, but I think it's going to add something to the game. I probably should have just moved that instead of doing the copy paste thing. New duplicate, so we'll just get rid of that. What we're going to do here is copy this. Bring it out here. And we're going to make it all this color. Why not? And you know what? Let's do that. And let's get our skull here. Let's put it in there. Yeah, that'll look nice. Huh? That'll look perilous. Put them right in the middle. And people will see that and be like, hey, probably touching that's a no-no. And we're going to add some spikes, similar to... Really, Flash? Similar to the danger pillars at the top. And we're going to put those all over. When I say all over, I mean... Well, actually we do need them on the inside too, because that can kill the player as well. Now, with normal pixel art, and this is where people tend to get lazy, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Guilty. I don't like how tall these are. If you're really doing pixel art, this should be animated, so when it swings around, the pixels move within the same straight grid. But, you know, gosh, guys, it's a lot of work. And I'm not sure I want to do it. I don't like the way that looked. That doesn't look much better. What do you do when you don't like the design of something? Well, you can just be like, hey, or you can fix it. I don't know how to fix it, so I'm just gonna I mean, that looks good. That's gonna do the trick. So anyway, if you don't like the design, fix it or forget about it. I'm gonna forget about it. What we're gonna do, flip horizontal. So now we need to make this one thing with a common center point. So when we put it in the game, we can be even lazier, and we can just spin it without having to adjust. I don't know what do you call this? A flail? Mace? I think it's called a flail. We can just do this. We can just have it rotate. Yeah, I don't like the chains. I think they're too thick. So we're going to get rid of those, and we're going to replace them with something even simpler. We're going to use this color for it. Just a nice little dot. You'd be amazed at how much you can accomplish with a little dot. So I'll just do that. This way we can ensure that the spacing is the same all the way across. This still feels like it's a little much. About that. I don't like it. I still don't like it. So let's, oh, you know what? Duh. Let's use that. That'll be good. But let's give it a little more space. So it's looking like it's not really a solid object. We want the player to look at it and go, I think I can jump through that. And it's not lining up. God damn you. Damn you, Flash. Sometimes Flash is a pain. And so we'll just have to eyeball it, which is something I do frequently when I'm designing. I feel like it provides a lot more freedom in design. I know there's probably someone out there right now screaming at me, measure it! Damn you! You're a loose cannon. I'm a loose cannon. Cool. I like that better. I like it. I think that's going to look good. But I'm still not sold. I'm still not sold on this. So, what is wrong with this design? Let's go ahead and make this transparent. Well, let's do that. Let's make it super transparent. Let's just make it white. No, I can't do that. That's not going to work for me. But we can do 25%. We can do that color. That's better. That's better. I think that's better. And then I want these to stand out more, so let's make these darker. We can do that by grabbing this color. We can adjust that down a little bit. We can paint these objects this darker color. I want it to stand out from the pillar while it's swinging around, but I still want to keep the palette. I'm going to go down here, grab this color. Boom. Really? Alright, let's see how it looks. Still not loving it. We're just going to keep it. I think it's going to do enough to convey the danger. Yeah, I think that'll work. Still not 100% sold on this thing though. Maybe we can make this the darker one. That just might be crazy enough to work. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Oh, wait, what? There we go. Grab that. Do this. I'm not sure I love that. Let's try and get rid of this altogether. Oh, that might work. We can just send this behind it. That works. Let's make it a little closer. It's a little far. I feel like that's going to make it a little easy. You may not agree with me, but that's the great thing about game design, is everyone's open to do their own thing. Alright, that's a little better. In my opinion, that makes it a little more difficult. This space where the player is going to be jumping in now becomes a little tighter. They're going to need to get in there, and then when they're exiting, they're going to need to get out. And let's actually center that pivot right on there. There we go. Whoa. Whoa. Let's move that up. Let's copy that over. There we got a nice center. That's nice. That will do. Crush.